9. The Wrong House. In January 2014, an MMA fighter single-handedly warded off 4 intruders at 2 a.m. on New Year's Day. MMA fighter Joe Torres, who was in New Mexico, faces charges for brutally killing one, injuring another, and warding off 2 more intruders. Torres beat 25-year-old Sal Garces to death. Police later found Garces lying near his trailer. Along with Garces were his 19-year-old brother, Raymond Garces, 20-year-old Nathan Avalos, and 22-year-old Leonard Calvillo. The foursome successfully broke into the 27-year-old MMA fighter's house while he was enjoying his day off with his fiancée and young son. Torres heard a bang just outside the main door, and he sprang into action. Almost immediately, a fight broke out, killing Garces, and Avalos had to be rushed to the nearest hospital for his severe facial injuries. The other 2 members of the gang fled the scene, fearing for their lives. Investigators revealed that Calvillo and his brothers had earlier threatened Torres that they would come to kill him. The intruders were armed with a crude shank and a knife when they broke into the house. Police arrested Leonard and Raymond and charged them with several felonies. Authorities have held the pair on a $10,000 secured bond at a detention center. Torres' attorney stated that his client only acted in self-defense and the court should pardon him. Friends, family, and fans started a Facebook page to support Torres. They hoped it would help the court acquit him of all charges. In July 2014, prosecutors dropped the charges against Torres, and he walked out as a free man. 8. Robbery in bar gone wrong. In August 2019, a man walked into a bar and announced his arrival, saying, "This is a robbery." The robber then went around and demanded patrons for their valuables. Most of the patrons in the bar, fearing for their lives, ducked under their tables to seek cover. Everyone did as instructed by the armed intruder, except for one man. This man was absolutely fearless and refused to hand over his phone. Instead, he casually lit a cigarette and continued to watch the commotion at the bar. CCTV footage of the incident at Berman's Tavern in St. Louis have captured the unfazed body language of the bold patron. You could tell he just doesn't care about the situation. Dustin Kruger, one bartender, said the man was very adamant and wasn't interested in playing games with the robber. The bar owner, Joe Kimmack, released the footage, which shows Kruger and 4 men present when the robber walked in with a semi-automatic style gun. You can see the unidentified man sipping on his beer and browsing his smartphone, paying no heed to the armed intruder who jabs the gun into the man's ribs. When the robber tried to take his phone away, he snatched it back and placed it on the counter. So, while the robber got away with his share of the loot, he won't forget this encounter for a long time. Police still have not identified the robber or the fearless bar patron. 7. YouTube prank gone wrong. In Nashville, Tennessee, someone brutally shot a man after a YouTube video didn't exactly go as planned. In February 2021, a 20-year-old Timothy Wilkes and his friend were carrying butcher knives to the Urban Air Trampoline and Adventure Park. Then they would perform their stunt in front of a group of unsuspecting people. The Metropolitan Nashville Police Department said they arrived at around 9:20 p.m. to find Wilkes shot by a 23-year-old David Starnes Jr. Starnes confessed he wasn't aware of the robbery being part of the prank and shot Wilkes to defend himself and others who were at risk. The police were unsure if Starnes shot at Wilkes in self-defense, but prosecutors didn't file any charges against him. Similar pranking videos have raked in thousands and thousands of views on YouTube, which drives young content creators to do something extreme. Here's another case where a YouTube prank video went wrong. Police arrested YouTube stars and TikTokers Alex and Alan Stokes and charged them with a felony after attempting to pull off a supposed bank robbery prank. The plan was to walk out of a bank dressed in black overalls, wearing ski masks while carrying a bag full of cash. They'd pretend to hitch an Uber ride and claim that their getaway driver had gone missing. Instead, a bystander called the cops over a supposed carjack scene unfolding on the streets. Police gave the twins a warning and let them go, but just 4 hours later, they tried to pull off the same prank. At the University of California, people sent several emergency calls to the cops again. According to the Orange County District Attorney's Office, the twins could get 4 years in prison if convicted. The boys achieved their goal of posting it on their social media page. The video, titled "Bank Robber Prank Gone Wrong," now listed as private on the channel, received over 1 million views. 6. Thief hits his own partner. A 2018 video of a robbery in Shanghai, China will remind you of the movie Home Alone. The video we're referring to is of a robbery gone entirely wrong, and instead of being discreet, it went viral. CCTV footage shows two robbers with masks over their faces and wearing hoodies attempting to break into a shop through a massive glass door. One man moves forward and aims at the glass door, while the other throws the brick aimlessly. But guess what? The brick slams his partner in the head. He almost instantly falls unconscious to the ground. The second man realizes his mistake and drags his body off the scene. The internet erupted after the video surfaced. People online called this heist the world's worst burglary attempt. Twitter users were falling off their chairs laughing while viewing the whole incident. A Twitter user mentioned, Shanghai police released this footage of what might be the two people in the world least qualified to pull off a life of crime. Another one tweeted, world's worst burglar clocks his partner in the head with a brick. The Shanghai police said, if all thieves were like this, we wouldn't have to work overtime. And we couldn't agree more. 5. The Dead Dream. 19-year-old Michael Vincent Loretta thought it was his lucky day when he found his dream car on OfferUp. But little did he know, it would be his last. In November 2021, police from Fairfield, California issued a warning asking residents not to make purchases from online groups because of a recent event of a young man killed in a robbery gone wrong. The Fairfield police received a call from a man at Tyler Street around noon. They found Loretta's bullet-ridden body on the floor when they arrived at the scene. The police confirmed he had died on the scene. Upon investigating, they learned Loretta was supposed to meet someone from OfferUp to buy a car. The next day, the police arrested 24-year-old Kamaria Strange from San Pablo. Police charged her with homicide and booked her into the Solano County Jail. According to the jail documents, they're holding her without bail. Although investigators haven't confirmed the motive of the murder, the family believes that Strange tried to flee with the car and the money during the exchange. Loretta's father, in an interview, said that he, along with his son Michael, were looking for a car together. They agreed on a 2013 BMW 5 Series for $7,000. His heartbroken parents told ABC News it was his dream car, and he'd been working several jobs to save up for it. The victim's mother told the news that Michael had just graduated from Benicia High School and dreamt of becoming a history teacher. The Fairfield Police Department offers safe exchange zones for residents to exchange transactions in a monitored area. The Safe Exchange Zone is an allotted space next to the police station with 2 designated parking spaces and 24-hour surveillance. 4. Man murdered at gas station. Police arrested 3 men from San Bernardino for a 2016 robbery gone wrong that killed a 24-year-old man. Jeffrey Tooley, 38, Dijon Vincent Griffin, 38, and Aaron Vernon Jackson, 41, had made extensive plans to rob an unsuspecting victim at the Buena Park gas station. It was on the 4th of July weekend, and they shot Maher Yusuf dead. Yusuf, who worked at the check cashing business, was unaware that a group of 3 men had slashed the tires of his Dodge Charger. Yusuf, traveling with a friend, drove to the gas station to fix his flat tire. When the friend stepped out to get some supplies, the 3 men jumped in on Yusuf and demanded money at gunpoint. According to the prosecutor, Tooley panicked and shot Yusuf in the head as he tried to get out of the car. The bullet that was shot at point-blank range killed Yusuf immediately. When the 3 men appeared in court, Tooley denied shooting Yusuf. His attorney claimed there wasn't any forensic evidence that linked him to the scene. The attorneys of the other 2 men claimed that their clients only wanted to rob Yusuf and placed the blame entirely on Tooley for his death. What's unusual about this case is that there were 2 juries, one for Tooley and the other for Jackson and Griffin. It was the first time courts had used a dual jury for a single trial in Orange County. The first jury found Tooley guilty of first-degree murder during the attempted robbery. The second jury found Griffin and Jackson guilty of murder while in the commission of an attempted robbery. The court hearing for their sentencing is scheduled for July 8, 2022. 3. The Botched Plot. In January 2022, a man killed a 16-year-old Burger King employee in Milwaukee during a robbery. The authorities were quick to act and arrested 41-year-old Antoine Edwards and his 16-year-old daughter. His daughter was his accomplice and the co-worker of Nyesha Harris Brazel, the victim. The plan was simple. The father-daughter duo and the co-worker Harris had the entire plot worked out, but sadly, it backfired. Around 10 p.m., a Chevy Impala pulls into the restaurant's drive-thru and signals for an employee. A young male opens the window and briefly converses with the driver before the car pulls away. Minutes later, the same car pulls up at the window and this time Harris answers it. When Edwards, the Impala driver, pointed a gun toward her, she backed away from the window and collected all the cash from the cash register while calling out to the other employees. So far, the robbery seems to go according to the plan. Harris would hand the cash over to Edwards and stage a victim situation at the restaurant. However, a third player in the plot messed up the whole attempt. Just as Edwards lowered his gun and tried to drive away, witnesses heard a gunshot and Harris fell limp to the ground. So, who shot Harris? Here's where things got crazy. Edwards didn't shoot Harris. Instead, one of her co-workers, 31-year-old Derek Ellis, actually shot her dead. Authorities suggest that Ellis, who fled the scene after hiding the murder weapon, only acted in self-defense to stop the robbery. However, Ellis got into trouble as he was a felon illegally carrying a weapon at work. Edwards' daughter later confessed that the staged robbery went wrong, leading to the painful loss of her best friend, Harris. Ellis is now facing charges for illegally carrying a weapon by a felon and for homicide by negligent handling of a firearm. 2. Don't shoot, I'm pregnant. In 2014, an 80-year-old man from Southern California, Tom Greer, fought back two home intruders, 26-year-old Andrea Miller and 28-year-old Gus Adams. Although he could fend off the fourth burglary attempt at his house, police asked whether they should charge him with homicide. When Greer walked into his house, he found the pair ransacking his possessions. When he tried to intervene, the couple beat him up and threw him to the ground. As a result, he suffered a broken collarbone with a few more cuts and bruises. It's a wonder how the 80-year-old could muster enough courage and energy to grab his .22 caliber handgun from the bedroom and shoot at the couple who were about to flee. His first shot Adams and then turned to Miller, who tried to run away screaming that she was pregnant. But after all the damage done, it didn't matter to Greer anymore. He shot her twice. By this time, Adams had made his escape. Later, an autopsy conducted on Miller's body revealed that she wasn't pregnant. According to an interview with KNBC, Greer said that the victims were running into an alley. Miller yelled, "Don't shoot me, I'm pregnant, I'm going to have a baby," but he had to do what he did. He later told KNBC that he didn't regret shooting her. Police later found Adams, who thought he'd escaped, and arrested him. The charges included first-degree residential burglary and first-degree residential robbery, the death of his girlfriend, and inflicting elderly abuse and bodily damage. A judge sent him to jail with a bond of $1.25 million. And in 2015, the court sentenced him to 12 years in prison. 1. There's no place like a bed. A 22-year-old man woke up from his sleep to find himself handcuffed and surrounded by police officers. Well, this happens when you get too comfortable in the wrong house. But unfortunately, there were too many things that went wrong in this case. First, the burglar chose the wrong place. It belonged to a police officer. And the second and most important thing is that he forgot the basic rule, not to fall asleep on the job. In March 2021, a thief broke into the house of police officer Gian Presa around 2 a.m. while the officer was asleep. Arthid Kin Kunthud, the burglar, was tired of stalking through the streets to make a quick buck. When he finally chose the house he would steal from, sleepiness overwhelmed him. The officer's daughter's bedroom was more than welcoming, for the man was pale with fatigue. He switched on the AC and jumped into bed for a quick nap. The following morning, it surprised the officer to find the AC of the adjacent room on, despite his daughter not being in town. He was shocked to find a stranger comfortably sleeping under the blanket when he looked inside. What happened next was when the backup officers arrived, they taped the man's rude awakening. The shouting from the officer woke the burglar up, and he was looking pretty confused at the cop that was yelling at him. Would you rather fight an MMA fighter or get robbed at knife point? Let me know in the comments. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I'll see you again soon.